Hello, I'm Cindy Feldman-Angulo. I am the creator of the FX Boom fitness system, and I wanted to kind of deliver to you what this is. So, BOOM stands for body awareness, optimal movement, overcome limitations, and maximize results. The FX stands for flexion and extension. So those are the body types we're going to be talking about. Now I want to give you a visual, okay? Imagine you are all motivated. You go to the gym in January. You're going, you're agreed to take all these classes, you paid for the membership, you're all excited, like, how can I mess this up? You have these big goals, lose body fat. And then you go to one of the boot camp classes, right? And you have a blast, but everybody is passing you. You're like, God, I have so far to go. But then you continue, you come out, you're soaked head to toe. You know, you waddle down the stairs if there's a stairs and all that, and then you go home, and the next day it's the Mack truck. You've been officially hit by this Mack truck. Your knee's a little bit sore, your back's a little bit sore, but hey, that's just part of working out, right? So I'm gonna get up and go do it again. So you go the next time, you go the next day, and then you decide to take like a ballet bar class, right? So you hold your arms up and, you know, say your flexion of the red team, and you're like, God, how do they do that? My arms are just about ready to die, and the instructor's all perfect over there, and you're over there like, I don't get it. It's hard for me to do, but hey, I'm gonna have a great butt because, you know, everyone in the class, ballet bar is known for getting great glutes. But for some reason, you're just not feeling it quite there. But maybe in time you will. So anyways, you finish the class, you go home, and now your back is killing you. Oh my gosh, you know, and I just need to get stronger. That's what it is. But anyways, so now the third day you wake up, again, the Mack truck just hit you again, and you're not really motivated this time. So you're like, I'm gonna take a day off. So now day 4 comes around. You get up, you mosey back to the gym, you decide, I'm gonna go back to that boot camp. So now you go back to the boot camp, and as you're running and then you're doing jumping jacks, your knee starts getting a little tweaked. So you start kind of walking around, you know, feeling it, trying to stretch something, maybe make it better, you know. I can't quite figure it out, but anyways, you know, you did the class, kind of. And then you go home and you decide, you know, I think I'm gonna see a doctor, maybe a physical therapist or chiro or somebody to figure out what's going on. So now you go and they tell you just to lay off, you know, and then also your neck's been a little bit sore too ever since you did the ballet bar thing. He says, you know, nothing overhead. So now a little bit deflated. You're like, well, how am I gonna do this? So then next day we get up, again, we're sore, still a little bit sore, better than we were. You go back to the gym and you decide, you know, I'm gonna walk in the treadmill. So you walk in the treadmill, you're walking. You're loosening up, you're feeling pretty good, and then next thing you know, the next morning when you wake up, your knee's a little bit worse. It's like, God, what? I don't get it. Why does this keep happening? So anyways, you go back to the doctor, the chiro, and he checks you out and he says, you know, I think we need to take a week off. So now you're really deflated. So now you're taking a week off. You've already just started a week and you don't fully quite understand. So then he says, you know, why don't you start off with walking? So now you're walking outside. You're paying for a gym membership you may or may not use, and you have all these amenities and all that, but it's not really happening. So then you become ultra depressed after a couple weeks, and then it's just not getting to the results that you were so excited to get in the very first day of the gym. Now, let me repaint that picture with using the FX Boom fitness system. So you walk into the gym and you see this boot camp, right? And everybody is just kind of tied up. It looks kind of weird. You know, you're kind of curious, like, well, I don't know if I want to do that. But everyone looks like they're having fun. So you're like, you know, and everyone says it's great for your joints and you'll feel better and all that. So you go in and this instructor comes up to you and does this little assessment on you and says, well, you know, you're the red team or you are a 1. So, okay, whatever that means. I've never been diagnosed a 1 or a red team, but I'll just go with it. So then you're going through these warm-up drills and, you know, they feel all right. And then you end up getting hooked up and you're being pulled backwards and you're doing all these crazy drills. But the weird part is your knee isn't bothering you, your back isn't bothering you, and you're going pretty hard, harder than what you thought you could. So you're going and going and going, you're sweating more than you ever had, and everyone's laughing, everyone's having a good time, and everyone's going around this pole doing different stations, and you go home, and the next day, it's like, I feel my butt, I feel my abs, I feel my shoulders, I feel everything that I've always wanted to feel, and guess what? My back doesn't hurt. Normally when I start a New Year's at a gym, my back always hurts. So anyways, you're motivated, you're like, okay, so I'm gonna go back, right? So you're back at the club, you're all, you know, positive, and you're like, I'm gonna take a ballet bar class. I'm gonna do that. So now you're going into class and you remember, wait a minute, that boot camp said I was a red team and that I should push down. So if I raise both my arms up, it might bother my neck. So I'm gonna push down while the instructor says to raise arms up, and I'm gonna just do that to see if it helps. And I feel my butt, I feel my shoulder, my neck isn't killing me. That's awesome. That's exactly what you want. And everyone else is doing their thing and you're doing your thing because you remember in that boot camp you're taught to do this and it makes things go better and all that. Right on. So then the next day you come out and you're like, wow, my abs are sore, my butt is sore. And you're motivated. You're excited to go back. And plus you learn something that most people don't know. It's kind of a little bit different. So the third day you wake up, you still are sore in the right places this time. Like the places you've always wanted to be sore, but you never really could. And you thought maybe if I do it long enough, I will. So you go back and you take that boot camp, all right? And you're all motivated because you're like, you know what you're doing. You're getting tied up and you're going harder. You're sweating. You got this, your calorie burners going off the charts and you feel good, right? So then you call up your friends. You're like, oh my gosh, you'll never believe what I'm doing. I'm getting tied up to a pole and told to do all this stuff. And they're like, what in the world, are you crazy? So then you invite them to come over, right? Because they have a knee problem that they always complain about, and you're thinking maybe this might be the class for them. So not only do they come over, they join. They join after this because their knee doesn't bother them. For the first time doing a high intensity interval class, it's not getting them, or say their back or whatever. So anyways, you guys are doing it together. You're both happy. You're having a great time. And then, day 4, you're motivated. You get up, you're still sore in the right places, and you decide, I want to learn more on this. So then maybe you hire a trainer that maybe can teach you a little bit more, because this isn't the common class that you're going to see everywhere, but you can feel it. And the next day you can feel it. And all the injuries and little tweaks that you may have that prevent you from going as hard as you would like to seem to be a little bit at bay. So isn't that kind of what we want? So anyways, you continue on. So now you're motivated and you're thinking, I wonder if my son is red team or blue team. So now you're thinking, well, I wonder if that has any effect on his sports, or I wonder if it has any effect on his ability to do different activities maybe at school. So now you're thinking outside the box. Now you're thinking, I want to get my kid assessed. And then your husband, who's old school lifting, knows what he's doing. He's been doing it for years, powerlifting, bench, squat, deadlift, the common. He's always complaining about his back. He lifts with the guys. He always does it for like a month and he comes back home and he's worse. You're like, honey, just try it once. He goes in, tries this system, and now he's like, I feel that where I should have been feeling it, but I didn't know I wasn't feeling it there because I didn't know. It's kind of like glasses. Sometimes when you put a set of glasses on for the first time and, you're like, oh, it's a little different. And you take them off, you're like, whoa, you become very clear that you really couldn't see. That's kind of what this is. It's like handing a sensation with your body that a word or a visual cue can't do. It's like, do you feel your butt? Well, if you've never felt your butt, how do you know? And this is like an obvious, like, wow, it's a big difference, So that is what the FX Boom system is it's a way to address somebody's imbalances, maybe that they did not know they had, that aren't bad enough to put them into like rehab per se, but they get aches and pains that maybe they could have avoided, or maybe these aches and pains limit them from getting to their goals, such as high intensity exercise to lose body fat and all the other performance goals that they may have. So anyways, flexxsolutions.com, or you can go to fxboomfitness.com and get some more information, find out what team you are, and find out what clubs are running the program. All right, thanks. This is Cindy. Goodbye.